A group of 5 players sat on the ground, gasping as they tried to catch their breath. It appeared items in the game had durability values, since all of the group's armor was ripped and torn. It was hard to tell for sure, but it looked as though a few of the blades actually had notches in them from being used. Tim wondered if the items could be repaired, or if they had to be replaced after the item degraded past a certain point. Everything about the Etheric Coast screamed reality. Dented weapons and armor just added another layer, and Tim forgot he wasn't actually there for a moment. Each member of the party glanced at the yawning archway in front of them, clearly unsure if they could, or even wanted to, continue. One of the party members, a woman wearing flowing white robes, rose to her feet.
"Thank the bloody stars," the dwarf grumbled. "I was starting to think Jen's mana would never regenerate."
Another woman in a tight leather ensemble purred. "Tell me about it. What kind of sick dev thinks up a mechanic like that?" The player name over her head read Lady Cat. Jen thrust her scepter into the air with a flourish, her head bowed almost as if in prayer as she recited lines from the book in her offhand. White light streamed from the scepter, forming a glowing dome above the players. With a flash, the light winked out, and a gentle mist started falling from the air above them. Each of the party members stood, letting the healing mist wash over them. Tim watched in fascination as their wounds began to close and their health bars rose. The party's weapons and armor still looked dinged and broken, but they were all slightly cleaner now. The overlay on the screen showed them at full health. The healer fell to her knees, groaning. Tim could see that her mana bar was depleted. Was there some kind of blowback for pushing herself too far? A man moved away from the group toward Jen. On his back was a bow almost as large as he was. An arrow from a weapon like that would be able to penetrate full plate armor. How strong did you have to be to use it? The name displayed above the bow wielder's head was Jack. He pulled a vial of bright blue liquid from inside his vest and handed it to Jen. Jen looked up at him gratefully and put the vial to her lips as she rose to her feet. Her mana bar continued to fill. Tim watched her mana bar top out as she finished the last sip. Tim wondered if the potion increased her natural mana regeneration, or if the blue liquid had the additional effect of continued restoration for a short period of time. The rest of the group ignored the two as they walked back to the party. Everyone was too busy tightening the straps on their armor or putting the last few licks of the whetstone to their blades. When everyone looked ready, a burly dwarf covered from head to toe in battered plate mail lifted his shield and turned toward the others.
"Ready, check,"
the dwarf growled. Jen had her book under one arm and her scepter held in front of her.
"Ready, Oakgut."
"Ready." Jack pulled the giant bow from behind his back. Lady Cat spun her daggers in her palms before slamming them home in the sheaths on her hips. "Ready." The last man in the party was wearing a hooded robe, and his head was bowed in concentration. The entire group turned to stare at him,